When it comes to your sexual health, take it from someone who's been there before. Take it from me. Today, Ajna talks to KC about confronting the fallout of domestic violence.
Mine first started when I was 19. I've been in about 3 different abusive situations. The first one, he was just very controlling. Wouldn't let me wear short skirts or go places by myself. And then the second one was an unexpected situation where the actual relationship didn't feel abusive or anything, but he did spin out of control one night. I think he was like high on cocaine. His eyes just like turned black, and he held me hostage in my own apartment. He held a knife to my throat, and I felt really shattered after that night. Somebody who I loved at the time being like that completely abusive towards me. My third situation was about 4 years long. We were even engaged. He was controlling, did the gaslighting, made me feel crazy sometimes. Yeah, being very controlling about me, seeing my friends or living my life or being jealous about me. He also tried to kill me a couple times. It really messed with my head about just like how you can love somebody so deeply and then they try to kill you. You know, it really makes you look at the world in a different way.
You just repeat stuff over, you know, same guy. And I think the turning point in my life came when I was about 29. And I just decided like, wow, something is wrong with me that I keep choosing the same kind of guy. So I decided to like swear off of dating. I thought it was gonna be like 6 months. And then I just like I went inside myself, you know, like, you know how a mechanic fixes her car and you're like, oh, I don't need this, I don't need this, and this. Well, that's what I did, but on the inside. The sad part about my thing was that nobody talked about it back then, you know, like people would try to help or whatever, but now there's a light on it, which is cool to be talking to you. It's kind of like you're at the age where I broke free. For me, I was 15 years old. I was so naive. I was from a small town in Pennsylvania. I was married for 2 weeks.
When you were 15?
Yeah, so I got married. Yeah, so because I wanted to get out of the house because there was a lot of dysfunction. And I think my parents let me marry him because they're from the old country and he was the mayor's son or whatever. But after like 2 weeks, I came home and he was sitting under a grow light, wasted on heroin, which I didn't even know what heroin was. And so I still remember like he slapped me that night, and that was the first time that I was ever abused by anyone. During that 2 weeks, my next door neighbor was this guy from California. So I worked as a waitress, I went to school and stuff, and then I got involved with this next door neighbor, tall, dark, handsome, musical prodigy, whatever, and I'm a small town girl. We wrote songs together and things like that, and after about 6 months, I told my mom I was moving to California. But during this whole 6 months we went together, he was really awesome, nice. But the first day we came to California, he slapped me, and it just got worse. And we were actually together 10 years. I mean, this guy, he pummeled me, and he was even in my...
I've been pummeled.
It's
like a mountain
It's terrible, and the thing that it, you know, like when I was getting pummeled, like we'd be partying with our friends, and all of a sudden, I'd be laying on the floor, and this 6-foot guy is like kicking me in the gut, and everybody is so like, they don't know what to do, you know, they're just freaked out, and so you're getting pummeled. I got out of that relationship, and then I got involved right away with another guy, and he was abusive too.
Your story sounds very similar. I am going through kind of that process that you were talking about where you're like swearing off dating and you're really going deep inside of yourself and having to like really look within. And I've been having to ask myself, okay, like why am I attracting this toxic situation? What's toxic inside of me? How do I remove that? Not that I have like totally not dated anybody, but I haven't gotten physical because it's just like, it's weird. It's weird.
Well, I think when you put sex into a situation, especially when you've been through it, because the thing about it is like, okay, you're 29, even if you're stopping now, you're probably gonna need a lot of therapy. It's so good if you go to therapy and you just like open yourself up to it. God saved me. I mean, I got to the point where I was gonna take my life more than once. And I slit my wrist while I was married. One time I drank Clorox because he was beating me and trying to make me write a $500 check, and I would justify, well, he said he was sorry.
Or it's because I acted this way,
Right.
I said this, I triggered that
Your fault, right? Getting physical, like I could date a guy and not, I don't know, something just happens when I would have sex with a guy. Like it almost tamed me, you know, like I would be fiercely independent. But then if I gave myself to them physically, something happened.
It's almost kind of like giving your power away a little bit. I think I did stop dating though because I kept like thinking about my ex. I was even kind of seeing somebody in this like platonic romantic way, and he still managed to break my heart with like no sexual activity. I was like, how did that happen?
There's no reason for another human to lay their hands on you, you know, period. But it takes a while to get that out of your system. Just thinking of talking to you today, a lot of stuff was coming up, but I know how to deal with it, and I've learned the truth, you know, like you've been being fed a lot of things by these people that isn't the truth.
Because it's like I haven't really necessarily been the nicest person to myself either. It starts from there. It's like me abusing myself, telling myself, oh, I'm a loser, POS, whatever, etc. You know, and then it's like, oh, now somebody else is telling me that too.
The thing that helped me is I would say back to the pit of hell where you came from. I don't really get them anymore that much, but I'm way down the road, you know, my recovery. You have to change your self-talk because you are beautiful. I think what you're gonna find in your journey is that it's kind of like a butterfly, you know, being in a cocoon. And like when you're in abuse, you're in this cocoon only. You're not really turning into a butterfly. You're kind of like rotting away, sort of, you know, your potential.
That's been a big part of it too, has been like redeveloping my self-confidence and everything, because I feel like a lot of my self-esteem and ego just like went out the window. I feel like I've almost had to like rebuild like an entirely new self. You know, from a place of like no ego and just like so humble. And I look at my past actions a lot more too. Like I am so much more like self-conscious and aware of like how what I do affects other people.
I can tell you I'm 60 years old, right? You only get one life. I wasted like from 15 to almost 30 with this guy. And not only did he take those years from me, like the recovery years afterwards, like for you, it's at least a little bit of a shorter time and you're already on the out, so that's great. You can achieve this magnificent potential without any man, you know? And a healthy relationship, I think, is two wholes being a couple.
For more trusted sources on the topics that matter to you, go to getmegiddy.com.